Good afternoon. Welcome back to Money Control's live stream. You're watching Closing Bell with me, Lovisha, Darad, and my colleague Yatin, Mota. Well, it was a no-action day today. Of course, we saw quite a quiet trade and a thin trading session amid the lack of FII participation. We are approaching the year-ender as well. So while we were hoping for a Santa Claus rally, but no spark and a complete dismissal of it as well. We saw that Sensex and Nifty ended flat in the trading session today, flat in the green, but Sensex was below that 78,500 mark and Nifty was below that 23,800 mark. So we did start off well, but eventually we trimmed all of those gains in the later half of the session as well. The advanced decline ratio, that is also deep in the red at this point of time, and India Wix, that has spiked up by 6% above that 14 odd levels. So yes, quite a heightened volatility on the expiry day as well. Among sectors, what did well was the autos and the pharma pack that did well for the second straight day as well. However, the bank Nifty index, that extended its losing streak for the second straight day. Yatin, we did start the December series on a positive note with 23,900, but we have ended at 23,750. So it marks for third straight series of losses for investors. But compared to October and November series, the losses were comparatively limited. So what do you make of it?
I think it's the year-ender impact, and the FI participation remains low. I think today was the expiry day, and most of the FIs, given the fact that December start saw some volatility, the reason being that usually they unwind well before the expiry for the December series, and new rollovers also haven't been that great. Volumes remain thin. If you look at the gross buying selling figures of FIs over the last 2-3 trading sessions, you will probably come to know as to they are probably in a holiday mood. But yes, as you rightly mentioned, it's a lackluster trade on Dalal Street with limited participation of FIIs as well as institutional investors. But January series is something we'll look forward for, because we have President Trump assuming office somewhere in middle of January, and also we would be into the budget when it comes to the expectations, because 1st of Feb on a Saturday the markets are also open, and well before that the January series would see some momentum up or down. But yes, we hope that it's a good January series as it usually is for the last few trading sessions, and overall the health of the market looks that most probably the market would be bracing for two big events. One is the budget and Trump assuming office.
That's right. Two big triggers that we'll be watching out for. But for today's session, let's take a look at some of the top Nifty 50 gainers and losers at this point. Adani Ports, that topped the list of Nifty 50, that remarkably did well and rose about 5%. Well, possibly after the Karan Adani's tweet welcoming the 100th commercial vessel in MSC Michelin. So that might have sparked up the stock in today's trading session. We saw M&M, in fact, autos overall were doing well in today's weak market. M&M also did well, and it gained about 1% in today's trading session. This came also after Motilal Oswal came out with its report mentioning M&M as one of its top picks given its rapid market share gains that it has seen. We saw also Maruti Suzuki featured in the top Nifty 5 gainers, and other than that, SBI Life and Shriram Finance also did well. However, on the losing end, we saw JSW Steel that extended its loss for the second straight day, and we can also watch out for these consumer names that did not do well and did not were the streets favor. For instance, like Titan, Asian Paints, Grasim, Nestle, all of them dominated the Nifty 50 losing list as well. On the other hand, IndusInd Bank also trailed for the second straight session. But Yatin, mid-caps, that underperformed for the third straight day. So what are you making and sensing from those broader end of the markets?
So what I can check is the Nifty mid-cap 100 index was almost flat, 60 points up for that one, and small-cap index also marginally lower, and probably the reason why the market advanced decline ratio is 1:1. Usually, we have seen that, it's a holiday mood, a truncated week, so activity is low. But still a lot of action in the mid caps when it comes to stock specific names. The Intellect Design, that stock rallying another 15%. 2 days back, the stock was up nearly 10%. Amber Enterprises continued to rally. That stock was up 8%. K Fintech, PNC Infra, Godfrey Phillips were the other stocks which were doing well in trade. What was not doing well is Finolex Cables. That stock was down 6%. Page Industries down 3%. We also had, Vardhaman Textiles. That stock saw a 3% dip. But stocks like Mazgaon Dock, continue to do well. Newgen Software, Lloyd's Metal, 361, which is earlier known as IFL Wealth, all of these stocks at new 52-week highs. So a lot of stock specific action does exist in the Lal Street, even when the FIs and the institutional investors are holidaying.
That's right. Muted trade, but let's break down some of the stocks that did manage to do well in today's trading session. But for the first one is your newly listed NTPC Green Energy. That stock declined as much as 5% in today's trade. We saw that the lock-in period ended in today's trading session. So after the end of this lock-in period, around 18 crore shares have been freed up for trading, which amounts to about 2% of the outstanding equity. So after this 1 month lock-in period, the next 3 month lock-in period will be ending on February 24 next year. So we'll watch out if there is any more decline in the stock that is coming ahead as well. But for now, NTPC Green Energy was one of the largest issues this year. The IPO also received good subscription, and at the time of the IPO launch, the company did say that they plan to utilize majority of its proceeds towards debt repayment. Yatin, NTPC Green, that did list at a premium and extended gains post that as well. But now it has declined from its highs and it has entered a phase of consolidation as well. But given the green power play continues to be, the stock might see further enthusiasm ahead as well.
Correct. I think these are all, stocks with high growth potential. We have seen the management talking about tall targets when it comes to solar and wind projects. Obviously, the larger concentration will be of solar projects. Obviously, when we have a very successful listing, post the lock-in of anchor investors open, we see typically some profit taking or some bit of liquidation of stock. But nothing really to worry. As you were mentioning, the long-term prospects for these stocks remain quite good, given the fact that NTPC and the government of India both are looking to aggressively, do the solar installations across the country. And NTPC clearly, the green venture is one of the market leaders and will continue to do so quite aggressively.
That's right. Let's move to another stock that grabbed the headline today. That was your Panacea Biotech. Well, the stock was logged at upper circuit at 5% today after it received order from UNICEF to supply about 115 million doses of its bivalent oral polio vaccine. So the contract is valued at 127 crore rupees and it is expected to be executed next year. Panacea in the past has also developed vaccines for polio, tetanus, hepatitis and has partnered with global organizations such as WHO and Gavi. So this order is just like an addition and it's a big plus coming in for the company as well. Yatin, the company did return to profit after 3 consecutive quarters of losses. And the stock is also not showing any signs of being overbought. So it looks like, a much more enthusiasm, much more bullish trend could be ahead for the stock.
It's possible, but the earnings volatility is something that investors don't like. Panacea Biotech has its own ups and downs, but the vaccine business, the overall polio vaccine program is a major component for the company, especially the orders from UNICEF, continue to help the company gain momentum on the revenues, but it's a couple of percentage points away from the 52-week high, post which probably the stock can do well. But moving from Panacea Biotech to Cello World, and this is one stock which is on the radar of ICICI Securities. They have a buy call on the stock with a target of 960. Another key point here is that Q2 FY25 onwards, their glassware factory starts production. Obviously, this will boost their overall sales visibility, given the fact that the new facility would be catering to newer products. Also, the integration of Vimplast with the company will unlock synergy benefits, especially on the distribution side. ICICI Securities believes that the quick commerce business and digital spends will help companies like Cello World market their product and probably penetrate their product better, because quick commerce has not only done well in the food space, but the non-food space, especially glassware, kitchenware, are really doing well. Also, if you look at the growth visibility has started to pick up, which would mean better business visibility for Cello World as well. So Cello World, a recent listing, continues to do well, and brokerages like ICICI Securities expect further upside. Right now, the target, as I mentioned earlier, is 960 rupees per share.
That's right. Even Motilal Oswal, Yatin, came out with its report earlier and they gave a target price of 1,000. So yes, quite an optimism building in for the stock as well. But let's move on to another stock which was in focus today. That was your J&K Bank. The lender did see gains of up to 7% in today's trading session, and it rose up to as much as high as of about 7% after the board appointed Amitabh Chatterjee as Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer for 3 years. Presently, he is the Deputy Managing Director at the SBI and has also served as an MD and CEO of SBI Capital. So, Chatterjee will be replacing Baldev Prakash, whose term comes to an end on December 29. Now that J&K's bank's financials stand strong, Yatin, it looks like the street is also cheering this change of leadership that is taking place.
And I think the quality of leadership will also matter, Lovisha, because we have the now the former MD of SBI, looking to get the leadership role in J&K Bank. The J&K Bank earlier had some issues with management. There were various irregularities found in the company's operations, and this is one bank which has a very large presence in the state of Jammu Kashmir. Asset quality recently deteriorated. But unlike other PSU banks, I think the management bandwidth is now getting improved with the entry of new management, and probably the reason why the stock rallied more than 7% in trade today.
That's right. But with that, we have come to an end of this edition of the Closing Bell. We will be watching out for the new series which is starting tomorrow. And of course, as Yatin pointed out, Trump's presidency and of course budget will be in focus. But for now, it's a wrap from Yatin and me. Thank you for watching, and do stay tuned to moneycontrol.com for all the news updates and market insights.